it's wonderful that she's feeling safe to come to you. And the fact that it sounds like she's being persistent is important, because there may come a time in the future where she'll stop asking, and she'll stop asking many things she's curious about because she might be picking up on an avoidant energy. So let's preserve her curiosity. Let's let her know that you're a safe space that she can come to for these questions about these very human things. So a great way that you can make these talks more comfortable, more engaging, and inclusive is by using books. Let me show you. For a 2.5-year-old, these are some great books: The Science of Babies, this one's excellent, and What Makes a Baby. These two books are excellent for these very early conversations. It's not necessarily about what's appropriate, because that's subjective. It's about what's relevant. If she's asking, that means it's relevant to her. This is an important opportunity to model healthy boundaries as it relates to other people's sex lives and sexual experiences. So it's important that they understand that it's okay to be curious about bodies and sex, but it's not okay, especially while they're a child, for someone else to share with them their personal and private sexual experiences. And so we would just let them know that it's okay to be curious. Here are some resources that are made for your age, for education, that can help you learn about this, but you won't be sharing about your sex life. And that's a part of helping to keep them safe. It's absolutely typical and healthy, actually, for young people in those puberty years to have questions about sexual orientation, sexual identity, gender identity, as they're navigating their understanding of themselves and people around them. And so what's so important is that our home is a safe space for them to ask these questions and to get answers without shame, without taboo, especially in red states where the rest of the communities around them may not be so shame-free or so accepting or affirming. That's a real protective thing, no matter how your young person identifies. So some great books that are made for around that 10-year-old age that include information in inclusive and shame-free ways about sexual orientation: The Every Body Book, Sex is a Funny Word, and Wait, What? These are excellent books to incorporate. Great question. So the best case scenario is that our young person feels collaborated with and has a buy-in to the type of education that they receive, especially when it comes to topics that are stigmatized or taboo. So check in with your tween and let them know that while their body is either beginning or going through changes called puberty, you want to make sure that they have the information and that they have the support so that they know what to expect, and that there are many ways that they can learn. So ask them, how would you prefer to learn more about puberty? And there are things like books, there are videos, there are workshops like Growing Into You. So ask your young person, how do they want to learn? And then you can go to our website, sexpositivefamilies.com, click on the resources tab, select the puberty category. There you'll find the most inclusive books and videos and teaching tools. And then you can go to the services tab and sign up for a workshop if they prefer that. I love this. Your 5-year-old is like, sperm, egg, okay, got it. Make it make sense. So let me show you how you can make it make sense using some of the resources that we featured and the specific sections in each of those books that talk about sex in an age-relevant way for 5-year-olds. I'm going to take you inside the pages of 4 different children's books, which all take their own unique approach to introducing the topic of sex. You ultimately get to decide which works best for your family. Let's start with The Science of Babies. This is a board book, so this is great for the earliest ages, and it starts with some anatomy sections, and then let's skip ahead and look at where they introduce the sperm and the egg, and where they specifically talk about sex. Notice the word pleasure here, which is pretty revolutionary for these kinds of books. Now, what you will see, though, because it continues on, but what you will see in this particular book is that it does center sex as opposed to talking more inclusively about the other ways using medical assistance that babies can be created. So keeping that in mind, and then it just continues on there. This is one option for an early introduction to sex. The next book is What Makes a Baby by Corey Silverberg. This book takes a creative, visually appealing, while also inclusive approach to talking about these topics. So you'll see that it talks about sperm and egg, and it doesn't explicitly name sex or medical assistance to bring the sperm and the egg together. And this allows for the family that's reading it to engage in their own conversation about the unique ways that babies came to be in their world. Now let's look at Making a Baby by Rachel Greener and Claire Owen. This one is very comprehensive, very inclusive. So it's actually a favorite as an educator. I love, love, love this one. And this one is really good if you have a curious young person who loves facts, loves science, asks a bunch of why questions or what is type questions or how questions. And you'll notice with this one, it is super inclusive in showing that there are many ways that the sperm and the egg can come together, and even many ways that birth can occur and that families can develop. And this last one, It's Not the Stork by Roby H. Harris. If you were parenting in the late 90s, early 2000s, such as me, my oldest is in her almost mid-20s now, then Roby Harris's books were likely a staple, or at least possibly on your radar if you were trying to have these talks. Roby Harris's books were revolutionary, absolutely, for those times. A lot has changed, as we know, in terms of inclusivity and language around gender. And so these books still are wonderful, engaging, and have a lot of knowledge and information. Roby's books are quite comprehensive in how they're designed and just really fun. They may not, though, hit the mark in terms of inclusivity, particularly with gender. They use a lot of binary language, so keeping that in mind. Their refusal or trying to stop the conversation is absolutely information and feedback, and we want to accept and respect that. So it's never a good idea to force these conversations or these topics into your young person's world. Take a step back and kind of assess honestly, why might they be feeling this way? Is this something that they've always felt because you've always been talking about this and they have changed at some point recently and no longer want to talk about this with you? That's less commonly the case. Often it's when we are trying to introduce these topics in their tween or teen years, and maybe we didn't do the best job of laying a foundation of open and shame-free dialogue. So let me share with you a couple of resources that I encourage you to take a look at so it can help you start to open this up in a more comfortable way. Sounds like perfect timing. In March, we have 2 different dates, so hopefully you can find one that works best, but you all will have a blast, especially if you've been laying that foundation. You're just going to have fun with it. We have a lot of interactive activities. You get to see that there are other families. He gets to see that there are other young people. You get to see that there are other parents. It's just such a beautiful experience. And March actually marks 3 years of us doing these virtually. We started in March of 2020, literally when the pandemic lockdowns began. And so we're actually going to have some fun giveaways during the sessions to celebrate this anniversary. So we'd love to have you join us. Definitely see if either of those dates work for your family. If not, we have dates that will happen in April and every month after that. So really excited to see you all soon. I'm in the car between flag football games, but the best way to approach this is with clear, consistent communication that reinforces body boundaries, especially if you're a household that does not normalize nudity. So that could sound like responding with, "No, you can't see my penis. I keep my penis private." And then if you're noticing that they're curious about penises, this is an opportunity to give them resources that are made for their age that help them understand bodies and the many ways that bodies can form and develop. And there are lots of great resources for that. You can go to our website, sexpositivefamilies.com, click on the resources tab, select the bodies category, and select the age group that 4-year-olds would be included in. And you'll find lots of great resources, books, and videos that normalize these conversations in age congruent ways. All right, we're winding down here for our Friday Q&A. So the last few questions that I'll get to before I have to say goodnight. This one, truly at these younger ages, age 5, 4, 3, 6 even, if you have reading time, you can incorporate books that relate to these topics. And I've shared with you many great ones. Our website has so many great ones. Whether it's about bodies, whether it's about consent, whether it's about sex, reproduction, where babies come from. Being proactive and fostering a shame-free environment is so much easier when they are in these younger ages. And that's going to set the stage for greater comfort as they continue to grow, and you can deepen the conversation. So being proactive now truly, truly does pay off. Great question. I've actually written an article about this. I will link it here for you to check out. On this note, we will end it here. I think this was a successful Friday Q&A, so thank you for all these wonderful questions, and you're so welcome. I hope that you found this helpful. I will save all of these into a new highlight reel titled Q&A, so you can reference these. You can share this highlight reel. I hope that it serves to create more openness in more families' homes, more comfort around these very human things, so that we can build connections with the young people in our lives that help keep them safer, informed, supported. We're really healing generational traumas and unnecessary taboos by doing this work. So thank you for being on this journey and on this path, and have a great night.